The fleet that did not need to arrive. They laughed when the sensors confirmed it. One human signature, singular, no escorts. No formation. No fleet burn flaring behind it. Admiral Keltar of the Virelian Dominion watched the hologram rotate slowly above the command dais, a lone human warship hanging at the edge of mapped space like an afterthought. It was massive, yes, but mass had never won wars on its own. Numbers did. Speed did. Overwhelming force did. And the Dominion had all three. Across the void, the Armada advanced, tens of thousands of ships layered in perfect geometric depth, their drives bright enough to stain nearby stars. This was not conquest, it was inevitability. The humans had delayed, negotiated, withdrawn. They had survived long enough to mistake survival for strength. "Open a channel," Keltar ordered, mandibles clicking in amusement. The transmission went out, formal and absolute. Surrender terms, resource cession, orbital compliance. Earth was to kneel as so many worlds had before. The human ship did not respond. Minutes passed. Then warning volleys were fired, not aimed to destroy, merely to remind. Beams crossed the void, elegant and lethal. They never arrived. The space between the Armada and the human ship rippled, as though the universe itself had exhaled. Distance stretched. Vectors dissolved. Targeting solutions collapsed into nonsense. Murmurs spread across the bridge. Interference field? No known energy signature. Physics is misbehaving, Admiral. Then the human ship spoke. Not loud, not threatening, not rushed. "You have crossed a restricted boundary. Turn back." Laughter rippled through the command channels. Pride demanded a response. History demanded obedience to dominance. "Fire," Keltar said. This time it was not a warning. Reality folded. Ships at the forefront elongated like reflections in broken glass. Hulls compressed into impossible geometries. Crews screamed as space betrayed them, then vanished. No explosions, no debris. Just absence, spreading outward like ink in water. Panic erupted. Jump drives failed. Navigation collapsed. Fleets lost orientation as stars bent around a single advancing shape. The human battleship moved forward, slowly, not chasing, not reacting, approaching. Each kilometer erased another cluster of warships. Each second rewrote certainty. The Armada that had conquered galaxies was being edited out of existence. "Ceasefire!" Keltar screamed. "Fall back! All units retreat!" There was nowhere to retreat to. Then the transmission came again. "This vessel is not a weapon," the human voice said. "It is a boundary." The ship stopped. Silence followed. And in that silence, the surviving commanders of the galaxy understood something terrifying. This had never been humanity's fleet. This had been humanity's line, and crossing it had been their final mistake. Law. Silence followed the arrival. Not the ordinary silence of space, but something heavier, an absence that pressed against the senses. Across the alien Armada, sensors screamed contradictions. Distances refused to stay constant. Mass readings fluctuated wildly. Some ships appeared closer than they were. Others flickered, existing half a second out of time. The 12 human battleships did nothing. They held position, aligned with inhuman precision, their glowing energy veins pulsing, slowly like a heartbeat. The universe had unwillingly synchronized to. Admiral Valor of the Keith's Combine stared at the tactical display as logic unraveled. "They haven't fired," he whispered. "They haven't done anything." That was when the first ship vanished. No flash, no radiation spike. One moment a destroyer occupied a firing lane, then the space it had occupied snapped shut, like a closing wound. Its escorts veered wildly, colliding as their navigation systems collapsed. Panic spread through the coalition fleet. "Engage all weapons! Activate emergency jump! Re-establish formation." Nothing worked. Beams slowed as they crossed an invisible threshold. Missiles curved away, following impossible arcs. Entire salvos froze in space, hanging like unfinished thoughts before dissolving into lightless dust. The human fleet advanced. 1 kilometer, then another. Space in front of them changed. Constants shifted. Physics obeyed different rules. Rules the human ships carried with them. Gravitational vectors realigned. Time stretched thin. The universe bent, not violently but obediently. It wasn't a battlefield. It was enforcement. As the human ships moved, Enemy vessels found themselves trapped in impossible geometries. Some were crushed inward, folded into dimensions too small to contain them. Others were stranded, their crews alive but frozen between moments, preserved as warnings rather than casualties. The realization struck the surviving commanders all at once. This was not annihilation. This was containment. The alien armada had crossed a boundary, one humanity had drawn long ago, silently, patiently. These 12 ships were not warships in the traditional sense. They were anchors. Each one stabilized a region of space-time behind it, and destabilized everything ahead. Together they formed a moving line of jurisdiction, an expanding domain where humanity defined what reality was allowed to be. A transmission cut through the chaos, human, calm, unyielding. You are experiencing a localized enforcement of human space accords. We advised you to turn back. Valor's mandibles trembled, pride shattered under the weight of comprehension. We didn't know, he transmitted back. You never demonstrated this power. The reply came instantly. Power is not demonstrated, the human voice said. It is reserved. The fleet halted. Only a fraction of the armada remained, broken, disoriented, alive by deliberate choice. The rule that remained. The galaxy did not celebrate. There were no victory parades, no broadcasts of triumph, no declarations of supremacy. When the 12 human battleships finally withdrew, slipping back into the dark seams of space from which they had emerged, they left behind something far more enduring than wreckage. They left certainty. The surviving alien fleets drifted in stunned disarray, afraid to move, afraid not to. Navigation systems slowly recalibrated as reality returned to familiar laws. But the memory of different physics, human physics, lingered like a phantom ache. Admiral Valor ordered a full retreat. No one argued. Pride had been replaced with survival instinct sharpened by awe. Across the stars, long-range observatories replayed the data again and again. Scholars argued at first, then fell silent. The conclusion was unavoidable. Humanity had not built stronger weapons. It had rewritten the battlefield itself. Where other civilizations pursued speed, firepower, and numbers, humans had pursued restraint. While the galaxy measured strength by what could be destroyed, humanity had measured it by what could be controlled. The 12 ships were never meant to fight fleets. They were meant to end wars before they began. Within weeks, doctrine across the galaxy changed. Fleets halted mid-expansion. Invasion plans were quietly erased. Borders were redrawn. Wide, respectful margins left around human space. The region near the Earth-like world received a new designation on every major star map. Not restricted, not forbidden, non-negotiable. Humanity issued no further messages. It didn't need to. The silence carried more authority than any threat. In private chambers, surviving commanders replayed the moment they had crossed the line. They remembered how the human ships had not rushed, not chased, not pursued victory. They had waited. Patience, the galaxy finally understood, was not the absence of strength. It was its highest form. Far from alien eyes deep within human space, the 12 battleships returned to their watch. Their crews spoke little of what had happened. To them, the event was not a triumph. It was a responsibility fulfilled. The boundary had held. Children on Earth would never know how close extinction had come. Oceans continued to roll. Cities glowed at night. Life went on, unaware of how quietly it had been protected. And beyond the edge of mapped space, civilizations remembered the lesson burned into space-time itself. Humanity does not threaten. Humanity does not boast. Humanity warns once. Because when humans draw a line, it is not a challenge. It is law. And laws once written into the universe are not meant to be tested.